Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, we're going to have to veto this potential manager. Here's a list of acceptable candidates. Status change to working as intended. Explain, Hibernia Atlantic will keep working if Scotland votes yes. The power hazard can't be fixed by the power company because fiber optics are a hazard too. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. We're going to have to veto this potential manager. Here's a list of acceptable candidates. Union heavy, call center politics heavy tail, just a heads up in case you don't like those. Bear with me, I love telling those, and my last one was entirely technical, winky face. Though my pimples were gone, I was still a youth when I joined senior staff long ago. Very few employees with as little seniority as I had back then ever got that job. It was a mix of luck, 7 new positions opened at once, and being good at tests, 5 tough exams, 75% on each to pass, 88 failures, I got the 7th. I'm pretty sure I'll never see a raise as huge as the one I got that day. And yet as the 7 lucky winners put on their shiny new wireless headsets, winds of war were brewing. Before then, senior staff had zero management. Being trusted and responsible senior employees, it was considered superfluous to dedicate a manager to the team. They did everything they had to do, when they had issues they knew who to call and stuff got done. But with the department expanding for the 3rd time in 5 years, middle management grew restless about a team this size with no low-level suit. And so we heard that to assist us with any issues we care about, the company would now have its first full-time manager for senior staff. Being new, it didn't seem like a big deal to me, but I understood that it didn't please my new colleagues. A manager means less freedom, someone looking over your shoulder. The line that they were there to assist us did smell of corporate BS. Generally half of a low-level suit's job is to squeeze extra productivity from staff. This was prior to my stint as union steward. When the news of a manager broke, people were cautiously unhappy, but when a name surfaced, all hell broke loose. The director had picked a manager formerly working for our non-union competitors, known to manage staff like help would be managed in the glory days of the Confederacy. I was amazed to learn near a water cooler that after someone told the union he knew him, and was an as, they arranged an independent background check on the guy. Conclusion: he was the worst pick imaginable for a team like this. Not only was he known to be nasty with his staff, he didn't have the technical skills to properly deal like a team like ours, had played a role in union busting over at our competitor, and I'll never be able to tell how we got this. The guy had a criminal record and a restraining order on him. Old-timers weren't interested in giving him a try, but what to do? The guy giving us the info was the first steward I met when I joined the company, featured at the end of my very first tale, and who I trust quite a bit. He didn't give us explicit directions, for various reasons related to the work contract. Pressure tactics must remain somewhat plausibly deniable, unless they were formally authorized by a vote of the General Assembly. Old union rep, G. I wonder if they'd still stick you with this, as if everyone on senior staff applied for different jobs. I understood that wasn't rhetorical, as everyone immediately moved to the open positions board to decide where they needed to find new challenges. I was very excited to be on senior staff, but I'm a team player. I guess I got the hint. Minutes later, I was applying to move to another union position, something to do with maintenance of road tex trucks, making sure they had all the tools they needed before they move out and such. Needless to say, quite a downgrade, but if worse came to worse, I would keep my new wage and could apply back to something I could bear doing later. To my knowledge, there's only one person who didn't apply to move elsewhere that day. The next day, managers quizzed us on why we wanted to move elsewhere, just to see if anyone would blurt out the union rep told us to do that. Good luck with that. Everyone made up an excuse, from schedules to work pressure, needing to cut back their hours. One guy said he needed more physical work or his wife would divorce him because he was getting fat. I said I needed to reconsider working on this team because it was clearly headed in the wrong direction now. So, once they failed spectacularly to squeeze us, manglement and union reps were locked in a room all day long. Soon after, we're back at the water cooler. Old union rep, okay, here's the skinny. That *** hole they wanted to stick you with will never work here. But you're getting a manager, there's no way we can prevent that. We need names. Bitewave, well, the best would be one of us, right? I mean, I just got here, I don't mean me. I mean someone who did this job a long time. And trustworthy? Most senior, easy, there's a few crazy, but good people on the team who'd take that job. Ask around the team, you should get a short list. Nobody here will have any issue with any of them. And that's exactly what happened. I had 2 bosses since I began working as senior staff, and both of them were previously on the team. Both had / have our full confidence and the ability to understand what we were actually doing. And the next one will come from within the team as well once the day comes, because old union rep, okay, they've agreed to the team's shortlist. We also have a clear understanding that no one will ever manage senior staff without prior experience on the team due to the extraordinary hardships someone would face if they had to manage a team like this without having done your job. Best that could be done. Any complaints? Oh yeah, everyone needs to come up with a creative reason to cancel their applications, or fail the related exams, he winked. That's the day I realized the full power of our union. 18 months or so later, I would begin my stint filling in as steward once the great guy featured here got sick. Thankfully, he got better, and he's still with us after all these years. He will retire pretty soon. All of Bitewave's tales on TFTS. Status changed to working as intended. Explan, Hibernia Atlantic will keep working if Scotland votes yes. I waited to post this until after the referendum to avoid making this a political story, but at the height of the YouGov's 51% yes poll, senior staff at my Canadian telco got a fairly unusual ticket, handed down 3 levels from upper management. There was apparently high-level concern that in the midst of a post-yes confusion, transatlantic links might fail. Not taking any political positions here, but that was fairly crazy, not to mention hilarious. They specifically mentioned concerns about Hibernia Atlantic. Hibernia Atlantic is a major link between the non-Scottish United Kingdom and Halifax, Canada, and New York. Where does Scotland comes into play? Well, it doesn't. Someone at HR freaked out at the possibility we might have some backlash and failed at Google something fierce, sending down all the way to senior staff an emergency-grade operational impact request based on the assumption this link could go down somehow and asking us to coordinate with networks for routing contingencies. In fact, remarkably few hard links go through Scotland, and those which do would primarily impact Iceland and Greenland. I got to deal with the ticket, and had some serious laughs. I was happy to accept any results from the Scottish referendum, but the notion it was worrying people in Canada was worth some serious laughs. Bitewave status changed to working as intended. Explan, Hibernia Atlantic will keep working if Scotland votes yes. Defer political issues to the union first in the future. Working as intended is the equivalent of fixed or not an issue. I assumed it ended there. Hours later, I get a call from the union VP in charge of extraordinary issues. He had HR on the line demanding further confirmation. Then I almost just lost it. Bitewave, if we had cables going through frigging Mariupol, I'd play along, but we're talking about a pre-sanctioned referendum in a first world country, and the premise of the entire thing is that a transatlantic link that has nothing to do with Scotland might be somehow compromised? If I'm supposed to pretend to be crazy enough to go along with that nonsense, I want emergency pay rates at a minimum. Somehow, that still didn't quiet all concerns. We had to add to a certain call queue for all concerns related to the Scottish referendum. Please press for forwarding all relevant calls to a dedicated team, as incredible as it sounds in Canada. At least once that went up, Manglement finally felt their behinds were sufficiently covered. Long story short, we respect democratic results anywhere, but crazy that the company decided to treat the whole Scotland thing like this was 1707/1774/1867 until proven otherwise. Everyone on senior staff was a tad dumbfounded. Everything's back to normal now, but I have a odd feeling I'd be elbows deep into it still if the Scots had voted yes. All of Bytewave's tales on TFTS. The power hazard can't be fixed by the power company because fiber optics are a hazard too. Early one morning at my telco, I get an alert about several nodes going down at once. After a quick diagnosis, I conclude a fiber optic link is down, and I can pinpoint exactly where, so I open a network ticket with the info, and a network team is dispatched on the spot, should be fixed within the hour or so. Within half an hour, ticket comes back as RUU refusal for unsafe or unsanitary conditions, with pictures. Electric equipment crashed down on our fiber, and there are exposed presumably live electric wires in the middle of the street. The city already put traffic cones all around it. Obviously, I ensure the power company gets notified and as per procedure send the ticket to the Health and Safety Committee, who will have to clear the site as safe before we can send someone back. Seems like these nodes will be down longer than I thought, but it happens, nothing too unusual so far. The real problem arises several hours later once the power company's SLA is busted without explanation. It's just some wires in the street, why isn't it handled yet? I have a bat phone number for the power company, previously featured, so I call them on that priority number and get someone who can tell me what's going on. PowerTech, yeah, I have the ticket regarding that incident, but there's a delay as the site has been marked a health hazard. What? Bytewave, on our end, yes, because of the exposed live power wiring. PowerTech, and on ours because of the exposed fiber optics. Apparently there's a considerable amount exposed as well, and our techs need infrared tracers and infrared goggles to be able to work the site in case they are live, and are trying to procure the gear as we speak. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This randomly Googled article explains what he's talking about. Exposed fiber optic, if it's live, shoots invisible, but powerful infrared light that can cause pretty serious retinal burns, but I would have assumed the frigging power company had the requisite gear on hand at all times to make sure if that was the case. Bytewave, I can have networks ensure it's not live by remotely shutting it down upstream, would that guarantee do? PowerTech, as there would be no way to confirm visually without infrared tracers, I don't believe so. Bytewave, fine, we got those too, is your team close? PowerTech, yes, if a joint team met there, and you bring the equipment to deal with the fiber optics, we can have all this cleaned up real quick. Bytewave, I'm sorry I can't plan for a joint team, we're not allowed to send anyone on the site itself until health and safety clear it is safe. The ticket system won't even allow us to open anything on this site right now. Damn it, what a mess. We ended up meeting their people a little further down the street, where there was no health hazard, where we gave them the gear they needed to stop being concerned about invisible light from the exposed fiber that of course turned out to be dark already. But once they finished cleaning the mess, we couldn't start the repairs immediately until we had an all clear from health and safety, which took another hour. Then the repairs took place, and repairing fiber isn't as quick as cable. The nodes were down my entire shift. Both our ticket and the power companies blamed the other as the reason for their respective busted SLAs. All of Bytewave's tales on TFTS.